Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to Miss Etta's Academic Corner. It is great to see you again. And we have, of course, Mr. Teddy. He's sitting right here, and he's saying to you all, hello, how you doing? He's waving. You just can't see that hand. And we have Judah Sr. over here, too. Judah Sr. says, tonight he doesn't feel like looking into the view. So he's sitting there, and you know how it is sometimes, boys and girls. Sometimes you just feel like sitting in a different position than you normally do. But you want to know something? It's okay. He's paying attention. So how are you all doing? How's your day going? How's your night going? Are you on vacation? Are you on break? What are you doing? We'd love to hear from you. So we'd love for you to have your parents just send us an email, a real quick one, short one, or a message, a DM. I know how to talk that stuff. And let us know how you're doing. So today, I want you to make sure if you have glasses that you've cleaned your glasses. Remember, you remove them from your face with both hands, one on each side. That way your glasses stay straight and they don't become crooked. And you put them on the same way. And if you have milk, cookies, anything to eat, anything to drink, that's great. You just put it on the side. Whatever you're using, if you're using a cell phone, a tablet, a laptop, a PC, let's get ready. So what are we going to read? We're reading a book called Merry Christmas, Curious George. And it's soft. Remember, we get a book, we look at it, we examine it, we check it out and look and see whether it's soft. Have we read by this author? That's the person who wrote the book before. And it's Margaret and H.A. Rays. And yes, we have read Curious George books before, but we've never read the one that says Merry Christmas. And there's the monkey, Curious George is the monkey, we all know. That's a star he's putting on top of the tree. And what does the tree has? It has gingerbread in it. Do you see the gingerbread? Right there. And just some decorations. I was looking for like candy cane, but I don't see any. So what colors we have here? We have red, we have green, we have gold, we have brown, we have white, we have beige, we have blue, we have yellow. Again, we have red, we have white, we have brown, we have red. Said that already. We have gold. It's a pretty gold. Same gold as the star. And inside the tree, there's green, there's some blue, and some yellow. And then we take a look at the back of the book. So we see Curious George over there with some gifts. And he's wrapping them, doing a pretty good job. It says it's Christmas. George can't wait to help the man with the yellow hat pick out their tree. At the tree farm, however, George gets carried away atop his favorite tree. Hidden in the tree's branches, George is delivered to the local children's hospital. What could be a better holiday surprise than a monkey in a pine tree? I don't know what your parents would think if they took out the tree and a monkey popped out. But, everybody's different. And there's a song, actually, A Monkey in a Pine Tree. We're not going to sing that right now. But if you want the words to it, and it's sung at the tune of the 12 Days of Christmas, let your parents let me know, and I will definitely send it to you. Maybe I'll put it up on the Facebook page also, so that you can sing this song if you choose to. Now, when we open the book, we see what's known as Santa Claus and Curious George having some kind of talk. Now, in the cover of the book, they put other Curious George books. So that way you can see what other books the author has written. And some of them we've read, but there's some that we haven't read. So we'll look into getting some of these other ones so that we can read some of these books by about Curious George. Now, in the back of the book, they have directions of making your own ornaments for the trees. And there's directions. And here are some stickers. See that? So you can decorate something with things about the tree. We got Curious George upside down. We got Curious George right side up. We've got Santa doing a couple of things. We've got some ornaments. We got some gifts. So if you had this book, you would be decorating something. Well, a book. You could even take the same book here and decorate it. This is George. He lived with his friend, the man with the yellow hat. He was a good little monkey and always very curious. Today, George was visiting a Christmas tree farm. You can help me pick out the perfect tree for our home, says the man in the yellow hat. Keep close to me while we look. George promised to be good, but little monkeys sometimes forget. So here they are in the car, and they're pulled up to the Christmas tree farm. Now, in case you didn't know, the Christmas tree farm is a place that people go to buy Christmas trees. So it's called a farm because it's where there's a lot of them and they're outside. So you see all those trees? And when people go to pick out real trees, they go to sometimes a Christmas tree farm. Sometimes they bring the Christmas tree farm to them. But you go and you pick out your trees. They cut them down for you, wrap them up. You take them home, put it on top of the car, truck. The Christmas tree farm had more trees than George had ever seen. He found a very nice one right away. But then another one caught his eye. That's one of the things about when you go someplace and you see a lot of something, you might pick one, but then you see another one might catch the corner of your eye. You might think it looks better. George could not resist climbing up the tallest tree to get a better view. He looked for the man with the yellow hat, but his friend was nowhere in sight. Two men trumped into the clearing. There's our tree, one man told the other. The men cut down the tree and loaded it onto a truck. Now, the only thing about that is Curious George is up in the tree that they're cutting down. See, now it's a little chilly, so Curious George has a red scarf around his neck. Now, over here, he couldn't find the man, couldn't see him. So, along with George, along with Curious George, that's when they cut the tree down, George held on tightly. He saw the man with the yellow hat as the truck drove away, but the truck was going too fast. George could not jump off. He was too scared, but he was still a little curious. So the man with the yellow hat sees him, tries to run. George is afraid to jump off. I'd be afraid to jump off too. Never, never, ever jump out of a moving vehicle. A moving car, a moving truck, a moving bus. While the bus is moving or while the vehicle is moving. Don't jump out. Some people do that for fun. That's not fun. You can get hurt. So George was wise. He was smart not to jump out of the truck, even though he was going someplace else. Soon the truck stopped in front of a hospital. George peeked out of the branches as the men carried the tree inside. So we know that since he peeked out, and do you see him? He's right there. The men don't know he's there. No one knows he's there. The hospital was a busy place. George jumped out of the tree. There were lots here to see and do. he looked at some interesting pictures. That's him jumping out the tree. Now, why is Curious George able to walk around the hospital and nobody stop him? I don't know. But he's looking at pictures which look like an x-ray, and we got a nurse sitting there and a patient. He found a jacket and tried it on. Found it? This looks like the doctor's jacket in the bathroom. He played on a trampoline. Trampoline in a hospital? This is what they're calling a trampoline. Look at it. That's a bed. He even went for a ride on a speedy little cart. What fun. He's on the book cart. I don't think that's a speedy little ride. He's taking off. Ooh, Curious George is causing some problems. Then George spotted something very interesting. What did he see? Take a guess. What did he come in on? That's right, the tree. So he saw his tree. George knew that Christmas trees were supposed to have tinsel and twinkling lights and shining ornaments, but this tree was empty. George thought, and then he had an idea. So I'm going to show you a picture of what George's idea was. So George looked, the tree was empty. He realized, like we all know, a tree needs to have things on it. So George took what he could find and he put it on the tree. What do you see? You see presents. You see a hat, Santa's hat. You see crutches. You see what looks like maybe toilet paper. You see x-rays, film, things you find around the hospital. So he made sure, and you see books and clipboards and all that kind of stuff. So he's making sure that the tree has some decorations on it. And it looked like cups. Next, George noticed a pile of gifts in the corner of the room. The gifts looked pretty, but George was curious. Could he make them look even prettier? This red bow would look much better on the green box, and the name tags might look nicer on different packages too. Now, but what's the problem with changing the name tags? If you change your name tags on the presents because they might look better on another present, then the present that the person is supposed to get, they won't get it because the name tag was changed. You get that, guys? A nurse arrived, and what did she see? A monkey, and he's making a mess. He's changing the packages. Oh, Curious George, you're in trouble now. A group of children crowded around the nurse. They were all patients at the hospital. Even though it was almost Christmas, the children were not smiling or looking happy. Come along, the nurse said, picking George up. I'd better get you out of here before you ruin anything else. So she feels like Curious George is making things bad for the kids. See, and this is one thing that we have to remember, that even though when it's Christmas time or around the holidays, there are still people who are in the hospital. And in this case, children. They're in the hospital, and some may have people to visit, and some may not. So we try to remember people who are not as fortunate to be home with their families during the holiday season. A girl with a cast stared at George's tree. Suddenly she giggled. Look, she said, it's my x-ray. A boy laughed, and there's the balloon from my room. All the children started chattering and laughing as they looked at George's funny decorations. Can't he stay for the party? A boy asked the nurse. We don't mind about the gifts. It'll be fun to sort them out. Please let them stay. Please, the other children chimed in. So, the adults may have been getting upset, but the children wanted Curious George to stay because what he did, even though it might seem like a mistake, it actually made it better for them. Isn't that great? Now the children were smiling. It's not fun being in the hospital at all, but it definitely isn't fun during the holidays. When she saw how happy the children looked, the nurse looked happier too. I suppose he can stay, she said, if he promises to help fix the tree. George was very happy to help. The children helped too. Some of them returned George's decorations, while others handed George the real ornaments. He scampered up and down, stringing lights and hanging tinsel. Being a monkey, he was good at that sort of thing. He was also good at making the children laugh. So they did have decorations for the tree. They just didn't get around to putting it on yet because the tree had just gotten there. So you see now they're putting their stuff that Curious George had away, and George is helping them put up the real decorations. And he's doing it funny. They're having fun. The nurse is relaxed now. She's having fun. Everybody looked like they're having fun. When the tree was finished, George helped open the gifts. He was having such a good time that he completely forgot that he was lost. He wasn't supposed to be there. Until the man with the yellow hat hurried into the room. "There you are, George," he cried. "I followed that truck all the way here." George was very happy to be reunited with his friend, and the nurse invited them both to stay for what? Milk and cookies. So they're having fun opening the gifts and figuring out who they belong to, because remember, Curious George had changed the name tags. So the man with the yellow hat, he finds Curious George. The nurse says stay for some milk and cookies. That sounds great. Everybody sounds like they're having a good time. Ho, ho, ho! Did someone mention milk and cookies? A man in a red-white suit walked into the room, his belly jiggling. He was holding a beautiful golden star. George's eyes widened. It was Santa Claus. "Who would like to put the star on top of the tree?" Santa said. "George," the children cried out at once. "Let George do it." George scurried up the tree one last time, and he put the golden star in place carefully. And then they said, "Merry Christmas, Curious George." So the man dressed as Santa came in, wants to know who wants to put the star up. The kid said, "Let George." George made it to the top, put it up, and now he's waving. And everybody's saying, "Merry Christmas, Curious George." And everybody is happy. The end. So remember, during the holiday season times, boys and girls, Mr. Teddy, Judah Sr., and the rest of the gang, that everybody is not with somebody. Some people are alone, or some people are in the hospital and their family can't visit. So you can write them a letter, or you can write them a note, you can send them an email, you can give them a call, you can DM them, you can text them, you can make a phone call, you can give them a shout out on your social media page if you have one. Some of you have one, but okay. You can give them a shout out on your parents' social media page. But let's not forget that some people are not that fortunate, but they still can have a great holiday season. They still can have a great Merry Christmas. to put a smile on somebody's face. So I want to wish you all, and we want to wish you all, a very happy holiday, a very happy Merry Christmas. And we say holiday because different people celebrate different events during this time. So once again, thank you for coming to join us at what? Miss Etta's Academic Corner. See you next time. Bye.